Hi, it's Jaraz and Jovan with Black Enterprise, back with another insightful discussion on hip hop and enterprise. And today I get the pleasure of chopping it up with comedian, actor, musician, best known for starring and executive producing on MTV's Ridiculousness, Steelo Brim.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. I've been, seeing you on TV for years, and now you've been reintroducing yourself with your music. You have your album out, El Dorado Excursions.
Yes.
How are you feeling about the response?
I'm feeling really good. I mean, for me, I think anything I do in life and any business I try to attack, or just anything I do, even for a hobby, I try to ask myself what success looks like. And for me, it was just having fun and being able to express myself. I've been on television for 10 years. I feel like it was something I could do to add another layer to myself and really just continue to introduce myself to the world. So I was like, hey, I'm having fun. And I've gotten hundreds and thousands of streams to millions of streams already. So for me, it feels success.
Yes. And you've been working in the music industry for, some time as an A&R and publisher. And going into the music industry, did you always know in the back of your mind that you wanted to pursue music yourself?
No, never wanted to. For me, I've always been behind the scenes. I've managed songwriters, producers, actual actors. I've always been somebody that's been okay with being behind the scenes. So I never thought that's what I wanted to do. I knew that I had a creative eye or ear, and that I knew kind of what I was very hands-on in the studio about what I wanted to hear and working with my producers and different things. So I knew I had creative ideas. Never really told myself that I was going to be an artist. Same way I never told myself I was going to be on television. People came to me and was like, hey man, you got a personality that fits TV. You should definitely come do this. You're really funny. Cool. Was kind of how I felt about music. People would tell me all the time, dude, you're really talented. You're a star. You should make this and what you should do. And then for me to go after this, kind of just was something my therapist told me to do. She told me, hey, go after something that you always wanted to finish or complete. And I knew that music was something I kind of stopped to start doing Ridiculousness. So when she challenged me to do something, I knew that I wanted to jump back into music. Again, didn't know it was gonna be through artistry, but happy I did.
That's amazing. That's powerful. And so you mentioned that with going to therapy, it helped you decide to start doing music. I mean, in what ways has therapy helped just change your life?
I mean, just being a Black dude from the West Side of Chicago. First of all, just being Black here in America in general, I think therapy is key, is needed. Being a Black dude from Chicago, from the West Side, I think also a lot of things that I may have even deemed normal that I went through. It allowed me just to, have perspective, to look at things in different ways, to understand that even though you may feel as though something may be normal, depending on your environment, whatever it is, you still may have trauma. You still may have different things that you have to work through. We all have things that we have to work through. Again, living in this country alone is something that we need to be working through together. So for me, therapy has done a lot. And I joke about this all the time. I'm like, when you might be a first generational therapy or somebody that goes to therapy for the first time out of your family, you kind of feel like it's your duty also to bring some of those things back to your family, bring some of that therapy back to your family to make sure that you're trying to help everybody grow,
Yep.
So it's a lot for me.
Definitely us millennials, I feel like we are serving multiple roles in our family as brothers and sisters and therapists and healers, helping to reverse generational curses.
Yes, facts.
But so with you having already worked in music and, you've been on television for 10 years, did you feel any added pressure when going into the studio?
No, because in the studio, like for me, I again, my little cousin was actually at my house interning through the beginning of this process. He was here just working, and he actually is a musician. He's really talented. I actually had him on the project. His name is Nomad P, but his name is Paris. He was here working. And then he was recording stuff just on his laptop. And I was kind of watching him do his own thing, and I was kind of like, you need a better setup. So I initially bought the microphone as just like me letting him get a better setup at my house while he was in town working, so he could still do his music and record. And then but I also knew me buying that was me knowing that I wanted to, I rapped in high school a little bit. I worked and dabbled and dabbled in music. So for me, it was like, I knew I wanted to try this thing or at least try my hand at it. And if I was trash at it, then, nothing lost there. For me, I would just leave it right there. And from there, friends and different peers and colleagues kept coming through being like, hey, man, this ain't trash at all. You should like put this out, do something with it.
Yeah.
So like from there, it took courage. It definitely took courage. I mean, you're being, and I wanted to be that for a lot of people. I wanted to be that courage for a lot of people because, sometimes it's just that we let people project their fears onto us and make us believe that we can't try something new. We can't layer ourselves. They would tell us that you have to be this one thing or you're not focused. And it's interesting because as humans, we are so complex. We are so unique and layered. So for us to even think that we have to be just one thing is just an interesting concept because, we are so many things to make one person. So for me, I just wanted to be the courage that a lot of other people couldn't be and just being like, you know what, I know that this is out of my comfort zone. I know that you don't know me for this. I know that this may be hard for you to digest, but fuck it. We live once, so go ahead.
That's exactly what it's about. Like, hello. Because when you're old, you don't want to be sitting in your bed thinking like, oh, I could have did this. No time for that. Especially in these days and age, I think more and more, especially after the pandemic, we can see you gotta just go for it.
You gotta go for it.
So, okay, you mentioned that you're from Chicago. It's so funny. I know you probably get this a lot because I definitely thought you was from LA because of the show. Yeah, because it was like Chanel West Coast and then, Rob Dyrdek. And so I'm thinking like, oh, he just got two fun young people from LA do the show with him, but you're from Chicago.
Yeah.
So tell us about your journey from the west side of Chicago to LA.
So I went to Morgan State University my freshman year, went to Morgan State and just decided after my freshman year, I didn't want to go to school anymore. I was like, for what I wanted to do, I was already working in music and A&R. I was working with Songbook Entertainment, which was Troy Taylor, and Trey Songz was the artist at the time that we were working with. So I knew I was already working in music. So from there, I knew that the people I looked up to in music didn't necessarily have college degrees. I would say to anybody, you should definitely still put yourself in a position to go to college to figure out if it is for you. But for me, going there after my freshman year, Kevin Lyles, who I looked up to, Baltimore actual alum and Morgan State alum, who is now the founder of 300 Records and has been an executive Def Jam and so on and so forth, had a book called Make It Happen I was reading my freshman year about how he went there for one semester. And then from there, took his last money and moved to New York and all this stuff. And I was like, you know what? I already been in Morgan for 2 semesters. I'm further than Kevin already. So I need to go ahead and just move to LA and pursue my dreams of being in music. Me and Kevin ended up being friends. So I joked to him about it the first time I ever met him, just being like, dude, I was reading your book. You gave me the courage to drop out. But no, I ended up going to LA and just have kind of always been somebody that, just understands networking, understands, relationship and nurturing those things. So when I moved to LA, just was on the grind constantly trying to be in those rooms and work with those people. I ended up helping Drama, who is Rob Dyrdek's cousin, with his publishing production company. And that's how I met Rob. Because his actual company was at the Fantasy Factory, in which Rob came to a couple of studio sessions and was just like, hey, dude, you funny as hell. We should do a show together. Man, I thought he was lying. I thought he was from Varnell Hill. That's bullshit. I was like, sounds great, man. We should do it. Okay, yeah. Get my number. Call my people.
Not Varnell. That's so
amazing. Funny. And he legit, explained this to me. I was like, sounds cool. I had never met him. He knew me from a hole in the wall, so I didn't expect anything. Right. I didn't really believe him, being real with you. I thought he just thought I was cool and didn't know how to connect with me. So he was like, I'm going to tell him I'm doing another show. And maybe he goes to cool. But he called me 3 months later, and I didn't even know how he got my number. He called me. He was like, yeah. Because he always calls people like that. Yeah. It's just Rob did that. And he's like, I didn't believe him. And then he was like, no, this really is Rob. He's like, that show I mentioned to you 3 months ago, we start filming it tomorrow. Can you be there? And I was like, yeah. And I had never done television and went there the next day and the rest is history, I guess.
Yeah, because that's a lot. A lot of people, when they get that phone call, are you really ready?
Yeah. Oh, no, I would look, for me, I was doing music. And other than that, my life was like, I was trying to figure out whatever I was doing. I was hustling at all times, but for me, that was that moment. That call, I didn't know why. I didn't know if I was supposed to be on TV, but if nothing else, in my eyes, it was a call from God.
Yes, yes, it was through Rob Deerdick.
Yeah, through Rob Deerdick.
And now, you're also an executive producer. How did that come about?
Yeah, I've been an EP on Ridiculousness since I'd say season 2 or 3. So it's pretty early on. I'm just somebody that like anything that I'm gonna be around or I'm gonna be involved in, I want to make sure it's successful. I want to make sure that we're doing it to the highest ability and that we're actually doing something, well. So early on, I just started to go to Rob with ideas and different things that I thought could help the show, better the show. We should be shooting it this way. Hey, have we ever thought about looking at the clips beforehand? Hey, how about blah, 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 all these different things. So he just respected me as somebody that wanted the show to be better and that wasn't afraid of getting his hands dirty and really getting the work done. So I actually got in the writer's room season 2. That was how they wouldn't let me jump on right away. And I was like, can I get in the writer's room at least? Can I just prove to you guys I want to make the show better? And I got in the writer's room and ended up helping write for for season 2. And then from there, that grew into a producer credit.
Amazing. Hell yeah. So with you're from Chicago, you had a semester or 2 semesters in Baltimore,
yeah,
LA. How has all that you've seen and experienced shaped your music?
I'll share my music. This first project, El Dorado Excursions, came from it really was inspired by my dad. He had an El Dorado, this old Cadillac. And I thought it was like dope as hell back then. It was, he got it from the auction. It wasn't that dope, but for me as a kid, I was like, man, fam got this Cadillac. He lit, like this crazy. So that El Dorado really I really was introduced to music somewhat through that El Dorado. My dad had a 6 CD changer and that was popping for real at the time. And he ended up, having a whole bunch of CDs from D'Angelo's, Brown Sugar, just different things. I was like, all right, fam, this is what music feels like. This is what that soul feels like. And Chicago is just known for having certain soul. Even our rappers, I always joke and say, still have to have R&B inspo in all of which they do, from Common, Twista to Kanye, Lupe. You're gonna hear samples, you're gonna hear certain musicality. I don't know if you're gonna hear necessarily across the board. So when approaching this project, I just wanted to grab those tones and those elements and didn't want to try to do things that necessarily were hot right now. This is what's going today, but wanted to be true to myself and be like, I'm a 33-year-old man. I want to talk about the shit I be talking about.
Right, like I'm living by my own rules, so just come into this with an open mind, okay? But you've already navigated so many different spaces within the entertainment industry and found success, even like you said, with your first album, your debut album. What do you think it is that you bring that helps you have found success so early on?
I hope a truth. I mean, I know Ridiculousness wasn't necessarily my voice. It isn't necessarily my voice. I have a job to do. I think I do my job to pretty good standard. I try to do it to the best of my ability. Yeah. But from Ridiculousness on there on out, from Wine and Weed to everything else, so my production deal with Paramount, everything else I want to create and do, I want to try to find truth, and again, in a industry that is so commonly things are facade and things, maybe this way. I think that, after the pandemic, as you were saying, we are all in this rebranding stage of trying to rebrand ourselves to be actually ourselves, to be the best version of ourselves. Whereas we've been told that we have to be this thing to be successful, or you have to appear this way to appease this person. I think we have all kind of seen and knocked down that wall now. And we want to, if anything, try to be a successful version of ourselves. So that's all I'm just trying to do is I realize I have a lot of layers to me and I have a whole bunch of different ideas and different things to me. So I just want to be able to express myself to the highest degree. So, music was one thing. As I said, doing production deal with Paramount, I already have a couple of TV shows and pipe works right now. So I just want to be able to make sure those things also represent, a purity in such an industry.
It will. And what were your views on entrepreneurship and following your dreams, growing up in Chicago?
My mom and my dad, preached to me and told me at an early age that, like, even though we grew up in a certain environment, in a certain place, that we didn't have to be of that place. Like, that was just where we grew up. So my dad tried his best. I laugh at some of the things now as a businessman that understands a little more, and I'm able to really, put different things in different positions. But like, for my dad, if nothing else, he taught me how to be brave and to go after things. Like, he, again, I talked about his Cadillac being from the auction. He was an early homeowner, another home. He bought other property, and he bought it for nothing. It was not a property we should have bought. It was horrible. It was not a good investment at all. But it still taught me to be like, hey, you know what? Homie got this off the auction for 7 racks, and for whatever reason, the house is pushed back on the lot, and it looks horrible. But you know what? We're gonna go in here. We're gonna get our hands dirty, and we're gonna build it. He taught us how to put hang drywall and put floors down and do everything else. So like, all those things taught me how to go after what I wanted to do. So even though my parents, I was on a full ride at Morgan State, my parents obviously felt like, no, you're not leaving, you're on a full ride. They had to respect my ambition of what I wanted to do. And of course, now respect it a little more, I can take care of them.
Okay, it paid off.
Yeah.
So you have your podcast, Wine and Weed.
Yes.
Tell us about it. The inspiration, the name. I mean, it makes, I'm pretty sure it's self-explanatory, but.
It's not as self-explanatory, as people think. No, wine and weed are just our social lubricants that we use on the show to get from conversation to conversation. But wine and weed don't really have anything to do with our podcast. It's a topical comedy podcast that we try to have what we would deem hard-hitting conversations, obviously with sprinkles of some just conversations we don't need, from anywhere from homophobia in the Black community to if sex robot's gonna be out next week. We try to cover a lot of ground.
Right.
But it's me and one of my writing partners, Chris Reinecker, who I've known for years, and white dude who I would like to call the purest of white. And me and him, I loved all the time that he wasn't afraid of having a conversation. I feel like in America that we can't truly progress. It's crazy for us to believe that we'll be on one page. We're not going to be on one page ever. But it's about us understanding one another, and us at least being able to express those things, and for us to say, okay, even if I'm not from this community, I can't try to silence them and say what they're saying isn't true. Even if I'm not a part of this thing over here, I can't say that's all propaganda. It's like having these, hard-hitting conversations, and we felt like, we could do that and we could cover the news, but we want people to know that we still were not people that they should take too serious. Yeah. So we smoke a little weed and we drink a little wine.
Okay, I get it. Call it wine and weed, so you're not adding no authority to what I'm saying.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? It's harder to cancel when we're drunk.
Right, we're drunk, I'm a little high. Right. Well, there's like a growing frustration among male-dominated podcasts, where it's kind of like, the conversations, it's just all about relationships and what women do wrong. And a lot of the girls are just not here for it. What are your thoughts on this? And is this something that you work to avoid on your podcast?
For sure. I mean, I'll say I try to purposely work to avoid it. I'll say, this is one of the first times I've ever said this too. Our first couple of seasons, we were 3 men on a podcast, and it was struggling at times because I felt like I have a Black perspective at times, and Chris may have his white perspective. I had another individual named John Ross who was great for the show in our video department, but at times I felt like it was kind of this still another white cis male's perspective on things. And I was like, this isn't really helping us further the conversation. If we say that we are going to be a part of the answer, then we at least need to get a woman on the show that can be here. So we try our hardest on season 3 to try to get some. No, we did. No, we had a woman at all times read our facts and go over it and be our third voice on the show to make sure that we could be checking ourselves when we need to make sure that we were not trying to have a voice in which we don't have about certain things. And we have a certain right now. Our factory right now is actually my girlfriend Alana. She does stuff, so she keeps us kind of grounded. And as well. So yeah, I'm very aware that it's not really neat. I don't care to hear 3 dudes talk about some stuff unless it's something that I care to hear 3 dudes talk about. You know?
Yeah, right. It's good to hear a male perspective on things, but like I think you said it very well and perfectly. You know, like there's just certain things. It's like, who am I to say what should and how it should be done? So
for sure, we can have perspective on all, and we may have, but yeah, it's ignorant. It's nothing but ignorant to try to have a perspective on something or to try to be the voice for something in which you're not part of.
Right. Thank you. Shout out to Alana.
Shout out to Alana.
keeping you in line.
She's a producer on the show as well.
Okay, that's right. So you mentioned your first look deal with Paramount and MTV. What type of content can we expect?
Again, I'm just trying to create a pure environment for, you know, again, for me to give for me to amplify Black voices or people who don't look like us, then for me to amplify those voices. You know what I'm saying? I just want to make sure that whoever is telling a story about whatever story, they're a part of that story and that it's coming from their mouth. So that's what we've been trying to create. You know, I'm getting some things cooking right now. I can't speak on too much, but some guarantees. So I'm excited to really show people also what I can do on that side of things. Good.
Well, as an MTV fan, I want to know, when are they going to possibly bring back Celebrity Deathmatch?
It's a whole bunch of MTV content, IP.
I know, Spring Break, all of it, but like Celebrity Deathmatch though, like
I love Celebrity Deathmatch. I grew up on it as well. I love it. I want them to bring back a whole bunch of stuff. So like, as much as I wish I could, I can only try to work with what I can work with. I gotta take my shot to.
Yeah, I know. You're like, come on, y'all. I just got my foot in the door. Yeah. All the Black people like, when they gonna bring Tyrese back?
Y'all hiring? Y'all hiring?
Y'all hiring?
Chill out.
Okay, and so what do you like to do to relax and unwind? I always like to ask people that, especially busy people. What are your ways of decompressing?
Decompressing. It's probably super simple. I smoke. I meditate.
The wine and weed.
Yeah. I might create some music. Might write. I do some writing. Be on the TV and film side. I do a lot of different things. I play video games like any other dude here. You know, I love that we have that. My girl always argues with me. A lot of women have that thing that they can just be like, we all do this same thing. Okay. And I'm like, I don't know, but I need to create something because video games are such a place that I can just go. And not that women can't play video games, just saying.
No, I mean, I'm not the video game girl. I'm the cell phone game girl. Like I realize how much of a priority it is for me because I work like all day, and then just if I'm not working, I have things that I need to do. But some kind of way, I at least block out like at different points of the day. But if you total it up about 90 minutes to 2 hours, I'm in my phone playing Matchington Mansion, the fashion design makeover, and it's such a freeing space for me where I can be in my game. And just like, you know, you're going to have thoughts and kind of make sense of your life situations in your head. But that's in that moment as I'm playing my game, I don't have to really worry about anything.
I love that. Because I'm not like, so like you just brought me into a whole different world because I guess my cell phone games are just like word games. I just do word games. But like, you bring me to like, yeah, I'm out here. Well, I'm styling people up while y'all, you know, are you out here?
I'm designing mansions. I'm styling people. Okay, yeah. I'm gardening.
This is amazing. This is amazing.
Well, listen, I'm here for everything you got going on. Keep putting on for us. Keep being great. Keep shining your light. And I'm really happy to share what you got going on to the Black Enterprise audience.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm a fan.
Thank you. Now let your little dog out because I keep seeing it.
Yeah, she's ready to get my other dog. They've been at the door.
They ready to go. Let them go.